Have you ever felt that, even though the past has long gone, it still clings to you like an invisible string that can never be cut? We often believe that remembering everything will make us stronger, that the scars and painful memories will teach us to grow and become wiser. But sometimes, what wears us out the most is not what's happening today. It is what we refuse to let go of from yesterday. Today's story is not about success or failure. It is about a truth that many people forget. You cannot create something new when your hands are still holding on to broken pieces of the old. So come with me to a small riverside village where a young potter named Aaron lives. A man who carries on his back a leather backpack, not filled with gold or silver, but with fragments of shattered pottery, the memories of a past he cannot bear to leave behind. And from there, a profound lesson about letting go begins. Aaron was a young man living in that small riverside village where everyone made their living from pottery. He was skillful, hard-working, and his eyes shone as if reflecting the fire of the kiln itself. Everyone believed that one day Aaron would become the best potter in the village. But Aaron had a strange habit. Whenever he broke a vase or a cup, he never threw it away like others did. He would pick up every shard, wipe off the dust, and carefully place it into the small leather backpack he always carried. To Aaron, those broken pieces were traces of his effort, proof that he had given his best, that even failures deserved to be remembered. He often said, "These shards remind me of where I went wrong and what I learned from it." Day by day, Aaron's backpack grew heavier. Every time he stepped out of his house, it clinked softly behind him like a sad melody. Yet Aaron smiled proudly, thinking he was carrying his treasure of wisdom. But no one knew that this very treasure was slowly becoming the burden of his life. As time passed, Aaron continued to work tirelessly at his potter's wheel. His hands shaped the clay with care, but behind him, the backpack grew heavier and heavier. Every time a pot cracked or broke, he bent down to collect each piece and placed it inside, as if afraid that throwing it away would mean forgetting something important. At first, it seemed harmless, but gradually, the backpack became something he could never part with. When Aaron went to fetch water, his back stooped low. When he lit the kiln, he panted from the weight. Even when he walked along the uneven path home, the sound of clinking pottery followed him, like whispers reminding him of his past mistakes. Each day, Aaron still tried to work hard, but the joy inside him slowly faded away. It was replaced by exhaustion, heaviness, and fear. Sometimes, villagers would see him and ask, "Aaron, why do you look so tired?" He would simply smile and say, "It's nothing, I'm just carrying my lessons with me." He did not realize that sometimes the very things we carry to remind ourselves to be wiser are the same things that hold us back, little by little, every single day. One morning, Aaron brought his pottery to the village market. The sun had just risen, and its light reflected off the clay vases, making them shine like gold. Yet, Aaron felt no joy. With every step he took, he could feel the backpack pulling his whole body down. In the middle of the crowded market, he met an old potter, his hair as white as snow, his hands wrinkled with time, but his eyes were clear and calm, carrying a quiet wisdom. The old man looked at Aaron and gently asked, "Young man, why does your back look so heavy? What are you carrying?" Aaron smiled, answering with pride, "Sir, inside this bag are all the pieces of pottery I have broken over the years." And his shadow dragged behind him, bending under the weight of the backpack. The sound of pottery pieces clinking echoed softly, like the voices of old memories, of the times he had failed, the words of criticism, and the dreams that had not yet come true. The last wind of the day blew through, lifting dust into the air. Aaron stopped, gasping for breath. His shoulders ached, his legs trembled. The backpack had become far too heavy, but he still could not let it go. Just a little farther, he told himself. These are the things that taught me to grow. But as he walked over the small hill leading back to the village, the leather strap of his backpack suddenly snapped. All the pottery shards fell to the ground, shattering once more, and the sound burst like an explosion inside Aaron's heart. He fell to his knees, holding his head in his hands. The fragments lay scattered at his feet, many of them broken beyond recognition. Aaron looked at them, and for the first time in his life, he realized what he had thought was his treasure was actually the burden that had been slowly killing the dreams he once carried. The wind swept through, lifting the smaller shards, letting them strike against each other with a faint tinkling sound, like the past fading away. The sunset was gone. Aaron sat alone in the dark, quietly staring at the broken pieces, and understood. Sometimes, it is not the past that hurts us. It is our refusal to let it go. The next morning, before the sun had fully risen, Aaron returned to where the pottery fragments were scattered. He sat down and stayed still for a long time. For the first time, he felt no regret, no sorrow, only silence and a strange, peaceful lightness in his heart. He gathered the old pottery pieces and carried them to the riverbank. The water flowed gently, glimmering under the morning light. Aaron took a deep breath and began to drop the shards into the water, one by one, each piece falling with a soft sound like a whispered goodbye. When the last shard drifted away, Aaron closed his eyes and felt his shoulders lighter than ever before. I keep them to remind myself not to repeat the same mistakes. Each crack is a lesson. The old man grew thoughtful. His kind eyes looked far away as he spoke slowly. I used to be a potter like you. Long ago, I kept every broken piece just like that, until I realized, if you carry everything that is already shattered, you will have no space left to create something new. Aaron looked confused. He lowered his head and quietly said, "But if I throw them away, won't I forget the lessons they taught me?" The old man smiled. "No, my son. The real lesson does not live in the broken pieces. It lives in the hands that can create again, and in the heart that dares to start over." Those words left Aaron frozen in silence. He did not know how to respond. He only felt as if something deep within him had been touched. But still, he turned away and continued on his path, carrying both the broken pieces and the words he could not forget. That evening, Aaron left the market as the sun was setting. The golden light stretched across the red dirt road. Aaron returned to his workshop and began shaping a new vase. This time, his hands trembled slightly, yet his eyes were calm, peaceful, in a way they had never been before. He was no longer afraid of mistakes, no longer afraid of breaking anything. There was only the freedom of someone who has learned how to begin again. When the vase was finished, it looked simple and humble but strangely beautiful. A neighbor, seeing it, asked, "Aaron, what is your secret?" He smiled softly and replied, "I did not change the way I work. I only let go of the things that kept me from flying." The morning light streamed through the small window, gently touching the newly finished vase. And in that moment, Aaron knew he was truly free. From that day on, Aaron never carried his old backpack again. He still worked every day, still shaped the clay as before, but his eyes were different, lighter, freer, as if every breath he took was a new beginning. People in the village would say, "There's something different about Aaron's pottery these days. It's not just more beautiful, it feels alive." They did not realize that what had changed was not his hands, but his heart, a heart that had finally learned how to let go. Our lives are much the same. Each of us carries our own broken pieces of pottery, our mistakes, our wounds, or the things we wish we could redo. We hold them close, believing that by doing so, we will never forget the lessons they taught us. But the more we hold on, the more we are pulled back into the past. The more we remember, the easier it is to forget how to live in the present. The past does not exist for us to carry, but for us to learn from and then move on. Only when we dare to release what has already passed can we become light enough to move forward. So today, if your heart still holds on to those shattered pieces that refuse to leave, try doing what Aaron did. Set them down, forgive, let go, and begin again, even if it is just one small step. Because sometimes, freedom does not come from gaining something new, but from learning to let go of what no longer belongs to you. If this story has touched your heart, share it to inspire those who still carry the weight of their past. And remember, each day is a new piece of clay, waiting for you to shape it into the miracle of your own life. Let go of the past. Live fully in the present. Journey to greatness.